What's going on, everyone? Your mom's favorite YouTuber, KKS here, and welcome to my NBA Eastern Conference standings predictions for the 2020-2021 NBA season. Um, I guess it's pretty self-explanatory. Um, I'm going to be listing 1 through 15. Um, just an FYI, the top 10 are considered to make the playoffs play-in games. Um, if you haven't already, please check out my NBA award predictions. Gonna be right here. Right here, I think. Um, but anyways, yeah. Um, Here are my standings. So yeah. By the way things look, a few surprises. I'm just gonna start from the bottom and work my way to the top. So, have the Cavaliers as the 15th seed. Um, No disrespect to the Cavs. I just don't think that team is ready to contend yet, contend for a playoff spot yet. They've got a great backcourt with Garland and Sexton, and they just drafted Isaac Okoro, but I think he needs a lot of work. I'm not sure what's going to be going on with their front court. They have Andre Drummond at center, which is he's a great player and all. And then Kevin Love, is he the power forward? Is it Larry Nance? I don't know. But aside from that starting lineup, the depth isn't great. And I just don't think any of these teams are worse than them. Um, like the Knicks, um, they've been playing well as of late. But I'm gonna stick with my predictions that I had prior to the start of the season. I'm not gonna adjust it. So I put the Knicks at 14 simply because the teams above them I just think are better. Like, I don't know. The Pistons at 13, maybe the Pistons are 15. It could those 13 through 15 is like the bottom tier. Yeah, I might as well just split them all up into the tiers right now. Bottom tier, 13 through 15. That middle ground tier, will they make the playoffs? Will they not? 8 through 12. And then top title contenders, 1 through 3. And then 4 through 7 are like likely playoff teams. Moving on to the playoff contenders. I put the Charlotte Hornets at 12, simply because it's the Hornets. It's gonna take some time for that to work. Um, I love their backcourt. Rozier, um, Devontae Graham, LaMelo Ball. I love those guys. I love Miles Bridges. I love PJ Washington. It's a lot of young talent, but they also have Gordon Hayward. I didn't really like the Gordon Hayward contract, but he's a good player. He's gonna produce for them. But I'm not sure if it's enough for a playoff spot. I think they're too young, too raw as of now. Excuse me. So yeah, I put them at 12. At 11, the Bulls, I was tempted to put them higher simply because of the potential they have. But again, much like the Hornets, very young team. Again, they have a great starting lineup. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Lauren Markkinen, and Wendell Carter Jr. I think when they're all developed, that's going to be a very strong team if they can keep them together. Um, but they also have great backups at every position as well. Satoransky, great backup point guard. Shooting guard, we don't know if it's either going to be Hutchison, a great defensive player, or Temple, a great offensive player. I think whatever the situation may be, they play either one. Otto Porter Jr., he may be overpaid, but he's still a solid role piece. Thaddeus Young, same with him. He's a great role player, and he's going to be a great spark off the bench. And their backup center, Daniel Gafford, I think he's very underrated. He's got a lot of potential as well. But I don't think they make the playoffs. I think they could get close. I think there's a possibility for a play-in game if one of those top teams falter. Like the Raptors are right now, the Wizards are right now. So I think they could make a playing game. At 10, the Magic. I made this prediction prior to Fultz's injury, but I'm gonna stick with it. I don't want to change anything. Last year they were the 8th seed. However, the Hawks, the Wizards, a lot of teams got much better. So I brought them down. But I think if Cole Anthony could get going, and be a Rookie of the Year contender, like I mentioned in my Rookie of the Year video, then I think the Magic are gonna stay at 8 or maybe even go up to a 7th seed. But I think as of now, 10 is a safe spot to put them in. The Hawks, another young team. However, they have some more experienced guys like a Clint Capella, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Rajon Rondo, etc. And Trey Young is already established as a top 20 player in the league as well. Maybe even better. I just don't want to get into specifics. It could be 15. I don't know. Um, but yeah, they've got young guys: DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, Onyeka Okongwu, Porter. Um, it's a load of talent, and I think based on talent alone, they're slightly better than the Bulls simply because Trey Young leads them, and they also have Clint Capella, an established player. They have slightly more experience and slightly more talent than the Bulls, so I put them at 9. The Wizards at 8. It's not looking good right now. They're not playing well. Westbrook and Beal, I don't think there's a problem with either of them. I don't think there's going to be a problem with the fit either. But it's just the rest of the team isn't great. Um, Rui Hachimura, I love the guy, but he's not a good defender right now. Thomas Bryant wasn't a great defender, but now he's out for the season, so that takes away a lot of offensive potential for the Wizards. I don't know. As of now, honestly, if I were making the prediction today, I'd put the Wizards as like a 12 seed. I just don't see them making the playoffs anymore. But I'm sticking by what I said at the beginning, and I'm putting the Wizards as the 8. Then same with the Raptors at 7. I knew that they would get worse simply because of the losses to Serge Ibaka and Marcus Gasol and how they weren't really replaced. Like I think that's a bigger loss than losing Kawhi because at least losing Kawhi gave the opportunity for Pascal Siakam to become the guy and take that next step. Um, but losing role players like Ibaka and Marcus Gasol and not replacing them is going to hurt this team because now if Pascal's not playing well like he did in the bubble and Lowry and Van Vliet can't carry the load, they're just not those kinds of guys. They're the kinds of guys who could take a playoff team to a championship contender, not from a bad team to a playoff contender. Now, it's kind of hard to explain, but they're not the guys who are going to put the team on their back and give you a win. But yeah, 6, the Pacers. They honestly have one of the more well-rounded starting lineups in the league. Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, TJ Warren when healthy, Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner. They've also got a great culture. They've got a new coach. It's an established team. They're a playoff team. But again, nothing more. And there's just not much more you can expect from a small market team like the Pacers, unfortunately. They're a playoff team at best, um, unless they get a star somehow, you know. But yeah, I put them as a 6. I would not be surprised if they get higher though. It's just I don't see them going far in the playoffs. Um, 76ers at 5. I think they've improved greatly from last year. They were the 6th seed last year. Um, and in the playoffs, they got swept by the Celtics, but I think that was largely due to the fact that Ben Simmons wasn't there. If Ben Simmons was there, I would give them a win or two. I just don't think they would have won the series either way. Um, but this year they have Ben Simmons back. Daryl Morey did a great job in the off season. with the draft and with free agency and with replacing their coach and getting one of the best coaches in the league in Doc Rivers. I know there are some questions about him, but he's still a great coach regardless. And I think that this 76ers team could be anywhere between the 3 and the 5 seed. I happen to put them at the 5 because for reasons I will mention later, but I mean, with adding Ben Simmons, replacing Josh Richardson with Seth Curry, drafting Tyrese Maxey, making a few other additions, getting rid of Al Horford, adding Danny Green. I think that helps a lot to get shooters on this team to make sure that because last year Ben Simmons was a guard who couldn't shoot and Joel Embiid was a center who could shoot. And making Joel Embiid shoot instead of being a physical demanding force inside was probably a, the main reason why the 76ers underachieved. But now they've got shooters on the outside. So Ben Simmons can do his thing and Joel Embiid can do his thing, and neither will have to go out of their element to make it work. So I think the 76ers could be good this year. Are they title contenders? I still think they're a missing piece or two away, but I think they're a lock for the playoffs at least. Number four, the Celtics. They've also got a few concerns. I think they got worse from last year. Um, right now, Kemba's not playing, which is obviously going to affect the wins, especially in a shorter season. Depends when Kemba's going to get back. I thought he was going to come back sooner, so I put them at 4. As of now, I'd put them at 5 behind the 76ers, maybe even 6 behind the Pacers. Um, but I think the combination of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is going to be great once again, even better. I think Jaylen Brown's going to be an all-star this year. The only problem is, again, Kemba Walker. When's he going to come back? And also the center. Um, who's going to be the center? Is it going to be, I don't know, Tristan Thompson? Is it going to be Tice? Is it going to be Robert Williams? I don't know. Taco Fall, maybe even. If it were up to me, I would go with Robert Williams and Daniel Tice. I mean, Tristan Thompson, he's a role player at best at this point. And I really like Robert Williams and his potential. I think he's flashed some of that potential before, like last season. And I think he could be the future starting center for the Boston Celtics for years to come. 3, the Miami Heat, coming off a great playoff run. Um, Coming off a great playoff run, being a lower seeded team, teams usually rise up in playoff seeds the following year. They also made a few additions. They added Avery Bradley, they added Maurice Harkless, and Precious Achua. So I think the Miami Heat got better, and I think 3 seed is I wouldn't call it the maximum. I think they could hit 2. But I think anywhere between 2 and 4 is a safe spot for the Heat. Um, could they go to the finals again? Uh, I don't know if they're going to be able to replicate that success. I think the East is going to be more difficult this year. Um, and teams like the Brooklyn Nets have gotten better, and the Milwaukee Bucks have gotten better. And moving on to them, I considered putting the Nets at 1, but the only reason I don't have them at number 1 is because of the injury uncertainty behind them. Kyrie is injury prone. Kevin Durant coming off the Achilles probably isn't going to be playing every game or back to backs. And losing Dinwiddie's going to hurt. And yeah, I just don't think they're going to be consistent enough to be the number 1 seed. Do I think they can make the finals? Yes, I think they could. But will they get the 1 seed? I think making the finals is more likely for the Nets than getting the number 1 seed. I think just with the large 72 game sample size we need from the Nets to be consistent, it's just not going to happen. But for a 16 game um, or not 16 games, but 12 wins to get into the finals. I think is definitely more realistic. But number one, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. Um, People keep disrespecting them for losing to the Heat last year, losing to the Raptors the year before, underperforming. But I mean, their team just was like the opposite of the Nets. The team was built for the regular season and not the playoffs. Great defensive team. I think this could honestly be one of the best defensive teams in of all time. Looking at the starting lineup, Drew Holiday, we all know he's a great defender. Did he make an all defensive team? I don't think he did, and I think he got robbed for it. And people were saying he got robbed. Um, I don't know, but he is an all defensive team caliber player. Shooting guard Dante DiVincenzo, he led the team in steals last year. He's also a great defender. Small forward Chris Middleton, he's a great defender as well in his own right. He's also a great offensive guy. He's a 50-40-90 kind of guy. Um, he's an all-star. Giannis, back-to-back MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year. Enough said. And center Brook Lopez, he was also first team all defensive team, I'm pretty sure. So again, the starting lineup is a strong defensive team, and they're going to be hard to score on come playoff time. And even in the regular season, that's why I have them as the number one seed. They got better from last year. Last year, that team had 60 plus wins, and just adding Drew Holiday and a few other guys is going to be enough to keep that spot. Because I don't think there's a more complete team in the East than them. The Celtics, it feels like they're missing a guy. The Heat, I feel like are more of a playoff team than a regular season team. The Nets, same with them. They're gonna have to deal with injuries and rest. And so I think the Bucks are more like a lock for the number one seed in my opinion. I mean, would I lock them in? No, but I think there's obviously the chance the Nets, if they're healthy, if Kyrie's healthy the whole season, they could get the number one seed. But I think it's safer to say the Bucks will. They've also got great depth. Bobby Portis has been great coming off the bench. I think this has been his best year yet. And yeah, I just think the Bucks will be the number one seed. As for who makes the finals, this is a tough one because I feel like anyone between one through five could do it. Um, I'm just gonna say the Celtics, they're a piece away. It depends on what happened, if they can make a trade or not. 76ers, Sam, if they can get James Harden, then you never know. If they can keep Ben Simmons and Embiid and get Harden, maybe they're a championship contender. Actually, they are a championship contender, but maybe they'll make the finals, is what I mean. The Heat, I just don't think they'll do it 2 years in a row. Teams are going to be gunning at them. So I think it's down to the Nets and Bucks, and it's a tough decision to make, but I've got to go with the Bucks. I think the Bucks make the finals. With how great that team is defensively, and the Nets just having way too many injuries to deal with. I think the Nets next year will make the finals, but without Dinwiddie, with Kevin Durant 1 year off of Achilles injury, and Kyrie Irving, who knows if he's even going to play in the playoffs or not. Um, it's just I've got to go with the Bucks, and they've Giannis has a chip on his shoulder to prove to people that he re-signed in the right place, and he is the kind of guy you can build around to make the championship. So I think it's gonna be the Bucks in the finals. So yeah, this is what I think is gonna happen. Feel pretty confident, and I think it's gonna happen. So, anyways, thank you all for watching. Um, Please like and subscribe. I think over 70% of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. So please subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.